Hey everyone, welcome back to Williamson Ridge Outdoors. Today we've got to cut a little bit of firewood. In fact, I've got this oak tree right here behind me, and this tree is actually a standing dead tree that actually just died out this year. Last year it seemed to be perfectly fine, and this year all the leaves on it are gone. No leaves came out on it at all, other than there's a tree limb that's down close to the ground, and there's that one tree limb has green leaves on it, and the rest of it is dead completely out. So I thought now would be a good time to go ahead and cut this thing down. Down here at the base, I actually may save a little bit of this because I recently had gotten that Alaskan sawmill, and I may try to save a piece or so out of this. I believe down here towards the base, I believe there's a good enough section of it that, you know, maybe I can try that mill again. I do have a ripping chain for my saw now so that I can actually do this correctly, get a little better finish out of it. Most of this tree is going to end up being firewood. So as you can see up in the top of the tree, that it is all dead out. There's only one tree limb that's right here that actually has green leaves on it, but the rest of this tree is completely dead. So there's a few things you want to kind of check out whenever you're getting ready to cut a tree down that's actually standing. Or at least I do. This is the way I do things. I'm not saying this is the right way to do it. I'm just saying that this is what I do whenever I'm cutting down a tree. I always tend to walk around the tree from every angle. That way, you know, you can look at it from one side and think, oh, this tree's got some lean that way. But you might go to the other side and actually see that it looks different than what it did from the other side. And that the direction that you thought it was leaning, it may not be exactly the same from a different angle. So it always pays to go completely around the tree, get a good idea of where everything's at, get a good idea of where you want the tree to fall, and then see if it's even possible. Because a lot of times your tree lean, if it's leaned real far that way, it's really hard to make it go this way. And you can put wedges and that kind of stuff in there and force it to go, but there's only so much that you can really do with it. So today, that's kind of what I'm into. This tree's actually leaning this way and back a little bit, but I don't think it's so bad that I can't make it come over and kind of land out here in this road. So that's what I'm going to try to do, is to get it to land kind of in this clearing. There is some limbs overhanging up here that I'm worried about it kind of hanging up in. I know it's definitely going to probably hit them with the top of the tree. I think it'll just fall through and just, you know, come out the other side and be okay, but there's a possibility. So I've actually got my tractor back here behind the camera with the idea that if it does hang up in a tree, then I can come up here and hook to it and pull it out, and then that way it'll fall the rest of the way. Or at least that's kind of my thinking behind it. But like I was saying, it's always just a good idea to go around and kind of evaluate what you're going to do, what direction the tree's leaning and all that kind of stuff. Now this is a pretty open area, so there's not a lot of obstacles that if something were to happen, then I can kind of run. But it's always good to make sure that if you're in the woods or somewhere where there are obstacles, that you have a path planned out that you're going to run if something goes wrong. So today we're going to be using our Echo CS-590. I have not used this chainsaw for a while. So it has been 5 months since this saw has been started, and I actually didn't want to start it before I started making this video, just to show you what you can expect out of it pretty much. So it's been 5 months, and we're going to go ahead and try to start it up. So we're going to turn the switch on, pull our choke out, hit our decompression switch. Uh-oh. Normally, whenever you go to start this saw, if you've been running it like every week or so, it only usually takes 2 or 3 pulls to get it started. I forgot to count. I think it was like 6 or 7 pulls, which is pretty much what I was kind of expecting after it's sitting for a long time. But as you can see, it started right up. It runs fine. I did put fresh gas in it. I used the Echo Red Armor mix in this, and I've never had any issues with stabilization or anything like that. Like you leave it sit for a while and you go out there and it's gummed up or it won't start because the fuel's going bad. Never had an issue using the red armor. Just wanted to kind of show that because a lot of people wonder how this 590 does. I've actually even seen some people saying that they have trouble getting them to start. I've never had any issues with mine not starting or being hard to start or anything like that. And once it's warm, it's usually like that right there. I mean, you can flip the switch on, pull it one time, and it goes pretty much every time. Well, like I said, I am no professional. The tree did fall exactly where I notched it. I just didn't notch it where it needed to be notched. I actually didn't want to cut this out of the camera because, you know, I could have changed, you know, moved a bunch of stuff and then drug it out with the tractor and laid it on the ground being like, oh, that went great. I didn't want to do that. It did break all the way loose from the stump. So I'm going to get me a chain and I'm going to hook right around the back of that stump and I'm going to just pull it this way. And it should pretty much just pull it out of that treetop. I meant it to go on the other side of the tree that it's stuck in. It did not go that way. If you were doing this and you didn't have equipment, then I wouldn't recommend even trying it. That right there is a dangerous tree, and you were trying to cut that out of the way or get it out of the tree by hand. That would be an extremely dangerous thing to do. So like I was saying, I actually think I'm going to come over here with my forks first and just push it off the stump so it's over here in the open and it's sitting on the ground. And that way, whenever I hook a chain to it and try to pull it, it's not hanging up on the stump. But that's a nice red oak. So we got it down out of the tree. It wasn't too big of a deal. I was just looking to see if there was any tree limbs or anything in this other tree that was about to fall out or anything like that, because, you know, I'm going to be working around this, sawing up all these limbs and stuff, and I don't want to be standing underneath a bunch of loose tree limbs where I've brought it down through that other tree. This is going to be a really nice firewood tree. I don't know if it's going to make much of a saw log, because even down here in the bottom of this, you could actually see the bottom of it kind of, you know, already having some rot and stuff down there in the base of that. So I don't know.